Good evening from yammybtv. Wishing you all well today. Sending loads of love as usual. Just finished traveling again. You know, that's the story of my life, but I'm in a good place at the moment, as you can see from recent videos. Probably my best spell since I've been out. Pleased to report the interviews next week going to be kicking off very, very fast now. Day to day, I'm going to try and get as many done as possible over the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'll be traveling with my bag and my tripod all over the country. So you lot get ready for that. The time's coming, pleased to tell you. Also like to pay my respects to Ray Hill. Ray, old villain, been there, seen it, done it. Comes out, puts a video out, says respect to Uncle Yammy for certain things, for opening up on James English, right? Lee Marvin, Steve Cartwright, Ugly Mug Steve, now Ray Hill, another guy as well comes up. And these videos reach me through some of my followers, friends that are on my WhatsApp, and because I don't look at a lot of stuff, as you lot know. And they say, Yammy, look at that, look at this, look at that. They're praising, they're saying, did you know that, I'm coming, Robert, hold on. Did you know that Tony A said to me that when I came out with what I came out with on James English about the sad things that happened when I was little, because I speak about it quite openly and easily because I don't feel ashamed about it no more, because I know that I never had no say in it. He said to me, you don't know what you've done, do you, Yammy? I said, what are you talking about, Tom? He said, by you doing that, he goes, there is going to be a lot of people that are a bit nervy, because what you don't know, Yammy, is that he says, Tony A, statistically says that 70% of criminals, hardened criminals, suffered at the hands of bad people when they were young. I said, how can you know that? That can't be, that's not fact. He said, I'm telling you, Yammy, you listen to what I'm saying to him, and you know what? He's been proven to be right. Because I've got so many people, followers and friends on my WhatsApp, I've been hearing about this satanic ritual abuse that I never even heard of the words before I came out this time, and gory details and stories coming from people, ladies, and one I mentioned the other day, and she's been up here, and more. I learned these things off great campaigners, one from Canada, Rhea Hayes, who's a real big campaigner for the safety of children, say, but I didn't know that when I did all that on James English that they were going to come out, Lee Marvin and all the rest of them, and Ray Hill, and say that I'm coming out too, and saying that, you know, some things happened to me that I never felt. I felt ashamed, or I felt, but they're now out, because this is what closure does. By closing it, by bringing it out, it helps you. It releases you. You're human. We're all human. You had a bad start. We did terrible things. The beginning of time, it's not our fault. But halfway through it is, because we know the difference between right and wrong. You know, other people that are affected by our crimes, my crimes in particular, played no part in what happened to me. So anyway, we'll leave all that, but I'm just paying my respects to everybody. Thank you for all the videos you put out where you're giving Uncle Yammy praise. And I take that and I appreciate it, and it pushes me forward. But I was just thinking today, right, the teaching, the famous place where it all started, right, Aylesbury. Listen to this. Those that done a lifetime of prison, right, in the early days they had Borstal training, which was after detention centre, the short, sharp shock, which I've done already, Blantyre House, Send, etc. But Borstal training, you know, you had Felton was a Borstal. They set up a place called Centre House in there, where it was for people, mental kind of youngsters as well, Felton. That's what they used to use it for, right? They had Huntercombe, Gainesville, Dover, Rochester, and Portland, living racialist, Borstal, Portland. But by the time I got my detained, my 3.5, 4 years, when I went to St Albans Crown Court, Borstal had been scrapped. So Aylesbury wasn't a Borstal. I don't know whether it was a Borstal in the 70s or whatever, but I got to Aylesbury 82, 83, 84, right? So we know that. I got starred up and got moved out from a 19.5, 20. But I was thinking back to my early teaching to becoming not a hardened criminal, but, you know, a man who learned the rules very, very early in life of the levels of violence and the tricks of the trade, if you like. Because it's not like a man who's 25 who goes to jail, who hasn't experienced none of that. He won't know what I know, because I learned early about the game playing and about, you know, what words to use and sorry, and the serious levels of violence that really go on. So you learn from a young age. You've seen it with your own eyes. So that's where you get the experience. And I say Aylesbury was the teaching for most of us that went there and gave us the skills probably to go on that journey and survive through it. Because many come out and talk about Aylesbury as being that first place where lifers went to as well. And some of the most dangerous youngsters that ever walked the streets were getting 10 detains and 15 detains and some horrific crimes from youngsters. Like I told you about Nicholas Vanage. When I first met him, I knew already that he was dangerous, right? I knew already he was dangerous. I told you one time that he told me about the sauce bowl and he jabbed a man in his head, like he called it on you, coming to the cell. So I learned early as well that when you're going into a man's cell, you have to be really, really careful. Because one, if you're in a man's cell and you get caught in there with the violence, a man could always say, well, you came into my cell. So a man went into his cell and I witnessed outside that he stabbed him with the sauce bottle straight through his head, right? When I witnessed him, another guy who ended up in Broadmoor as well, I think his name was Ersk. I can't remember, but he was another lunatic, but he was around in Aylesbury about the same time. And where I saw the levels of violence for Nicholas Vanage, who went on in life to do some of you lot was asking me about but obviously I put him somewhere near the top of one of the most dangerous men that I ever met, as well as this other guy as well. I saw little bits of him. Can't remember his full name, but I know that he's in Broadmoor now as well. So imagine them two going to fight. And as soon as the fight's about to start, I think Nicholas Vanage had something funny about his leg. He had a wound or something from young. And straight away, before the other guy could respond, straight away, he's poked him in his eye. Bang. Argument done. So I know already from Aylesbury, from a young kid, when I'm looking and I'm seeing that, I'm saying, wow, don't ever walk up, don't ever talk to Yammy, man, because the violence that comes your way can be really, really serious. So you learn quite early. So then you got Biscuit, Dirty Harry, Wayne Brown from Brixton, Digo from Brixton, Delroy Thomas, H from Company Sound as well. Who else was there? Robert Rodney as well was there. Parchman, Parchy, Parker from East London, Cockney Geezer as well. Harry Smith, the Randy brothers as well. Randy Murray's, or rest in peace, one of them I think as well. Yeah, family too. Porky as well. Everyone was there at the same time. And there was a guy called Longers, Desmond Oliver, rest in peace. I liked him. I'll tell you about this guy. And then one of my best ever friends, probably my best friend now even, ended up being like my brother-in-law, Ricky Astor, probably as well, like one of the most, like, wouldn't say the most dangerous man, but like could look after himself and was on stuff early. Like you do well to really be wanting to come to Ricky and try anything with him. And I learned a lot of Ricky. Very straight, honest, loyal, true man. My truest friend, Ricky Astor, right? Tell you like that down. And he was in Aylesbury at that time. So I had a bit of luck when I got there from Chelmsford, from being small. Because straight away he gets me from the induction wing. Yeah. Put him over because I'm too small. The smallest man in Aylesbury. But you put me over there with Ricky. And Longers is there. Desmond Oliver. And Gel can do funny things to people, right? Longers was one of those serious men. He didn't play about, right? But he was a nice bloke until you crossed him. Like one when there was this guy called Springer, another strange, a bit of a madman with spectacles, but built like really built and strong in there. I remember a fight there, right, where he said something, and Longers looked at him and he said, "Can you say that again, please?" And he said it again, and it was on, and there was some serious damage, right? So, but what got me about Longers, right? Rest in peace, right? Because for the whole sentence, the whole couple of years before he got starred up and left me, because a lot of these guys that I'm talking about now, they got starred up earlier than me because they were 20, 21, and then had to move on to adult prisons. But all through the sentence, every day, he used to say to me, Yammy, yeah, because he never used to get no letters off no one. No one used to visit him. And he used to bring up stories and say to me, yeah, this man done this to him, and wait till I get out. I got this man I want to talk to. I got that man I want to talk to. I got this man I want to talk to. So many, he's got a list of, I'm saying Longers, but don't you think you want to let that go because you're doing a 7 at that time? But prison can make men really, really not bitter, but feel, when nobody's there for them, feel like everybody's let them down. Like I remember an argument with him and somebody else where he went up to a man and said, "I heard that Ramsey sent some magazines for me. Where are they?" And the man said to him, if Ramsey sent the magazines to me, to the guy, why didn't he send them to you? Because if he wanted you to have them, why did he send them to me to give to you? Like kind of thing. Like them kind of things, like I used to think. So. Anyway, he had that. He went out on street with that list and he didn't last long. And whatever happened, I don't know all the details, but I know that he's rest in peace and he died from a stab wound. So he went out and he was out 2 days and he died. I never heard anything ever. Everyone will remember from Aylesbury, Longers. Very, very serious man. One of the earliest, baddest men that I ever saw. Like was really up front for everything, right? These were the times when I learned about the pool table being hotspots for violence as well. Like I'll never forget the first time that I saw Biscuit and Dirty Harry and H and the arguments that take place when these bad curbs happen when you're learning, and I'm in the background and I'm watching, and I know that I'm going to be in these positions one day because they are my role models. So if he picks up a ball, like the arguments always around the pool table when you're a youngster, my game next. I'm me next. Nah, mate, I'm next. All right then, no game ain't playing. So picks up a ball, walks off. Everybody's just tense because then what's the next move then? So you're expecting violence over that, and violence occurs. But then them early badman as well, I used to make me laugh, some of the lines. When I look back, I can always remember Biscuit saying to my man, "What, you don't know who me is?" And I remember him saying to me, "What, you never hear about me?" Like it was more like reputation right from the start, east, south, north, west. Then I saw the early stages of the fighting, because them days it was, right, coming in, let's go into recess and have it. So I witnessed some of those fights early on. I witnessed Ricky fighting, I witnessed Longers fighting, so I witnessed and I watched. And then I remember a geezer called Cumberbatch today. Rest in peace, I heard he died young too, as well. Nice little short, stubby little fella, but like proper stuff, if you get what I mean. I remember him going in the cell with Wayne Brown from Brixton, and Wayne Brown was big and he was strong, but he went in the cell with him and he had it with him. And I was watching the Tops of Turvin. I was at the door and I was thinking, I don't want him to get hurt, like because you like someone, but I like Wayne too. But he put up a good fight. No winners, no losers that day. But he come out the cell, and they had it. But then that's when I learned. I said, one day it's going to be me that's going to have to prove myself too. And I'll never forget my first 2 fights when it came, and it was a guy called Pemberton as well from Birmingham, right? So we're all on the landing, and then Robert Rodney's there and Parker is there, and this light-skinned guy, Joe something. You lot would, he's as big, he's a proper name, he's in Aylesbury at the same time. So it's on me, and he's the Birmingham guy saying to me, he's saying, yeah, what are you saying? Some robots. So I'm kind of a little bit, so now but I'm thinking, yeah, but I've never been in a cell one-on-one with someone or been in a recess yet to have a fight with anyone. So this is the first time now that it's happening to me. And then Robert Rodney's looking, yeah, but he's too big for you. Too big for you, man. You can't fight him. And then you got Park saying, nah, mate. Yammy, have a go, mate. Don't worry about that, mate. All you could do is have a go, mate. Don't worry, I got you, whatever, you know, like that. So gassed me up a little bit. Got into the cell. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat. I'm talking about 25 punches. He didn't even get a punch in, right? So remember, I'm not no boxer or nothing. So, and then it all got stopped at the bell and everything. But the adrenaline was pumping, and I was thinking, well, boy. And afterwards, they were saying, Yammy, yeah, nice, Yammy. Like, look, because you know you're small, but you're fighting back. But I never forget my first ever recess one, right? So, you know, Aylesbury, a lot of arguing out the window. And Aylesbury was a place where it seemed to go longer. Time seemed to go longer in the early days. I don't know whether when the years went by, you know, in other prisons, I can remember time going by, but much faster. But Aylesbury, I only did 2 or 3 years out of that sentence at that time, but it seemed to last forever, that sentence. But arguments out the window, and then there's some guy called Sleepy from East London, right? So again, bigger than me. So in the morning, like all the heads are there, rah, 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 rah. So the argument's out the window. I said, all right then, all right, recess. So now I learnt the one by going in the 1-on-1 in the cell. I know that you can't give a man a chance. You got to get your punches in early. You can't give no chances. So now it's the recess. So I'm walking down because you've got the bowl them days to slop out. But I'm carrying there's no water in mine, right? So I'm just carrying the thing. Reach down, then I see him coming down the landing with his bowl. So he come down, put his on the side to put his wash basin down on the side, and then turned to look at me. But as he turned to look at me, I just started swinging straight away, right? So again, the learning curve of the rules of how I was taught. Not much, like don't have to be a boxer. You just know how to throw punches, and you know how to be quick, and you know when to move at the right time. That can be enough sometimes when you're setting off on things, because you're scared that, because when the more fear you got sometimes, the quicker your reaction time is. Because if you're overconfident, sometimes you can come unstuck, and that happened to me a lot in later life as well. When the ones that I thought I was going to do easy turn out to be really difficult ones, because I wasn't scared. But I know in them early days I was scared. And again, he didn't get a punch in, Sleepy. And then they were all witnessing that, and they were saying that, and that's how I became, and I knew, I believed in myself. And I learned the rules of how, you know, fights in prison, where they come from, where, you know, being in those places of recesses, cells, workshops, all them places that exist in institutions. You experience them when you're younger, so you know what to expect on your next lap when you go. So your experience, that's what I'm saying to you tonight. So the early teachings of Aylesbury, a lot of man will remember as well that is the schooling for future things. Because if you don't know how to do it, and if you don't get to do it while you're young, when you're older, saying you haven't been to prison, like, not saying that you got to go through the whole thing, because I'm deterring everybody from going to prison. A man that hasn't been in a recess, or he don't know that a man could be coming here with a big shank, and before you know it, like Vanage, like I saw, and that Erskine and whatever, and his eye comes out straight away, and you don't, because you're turning up to have a fight, but you don't know that certain men are not playing that game. They're playing something completely different. So you got to be prepared for all kind of things that can happen. It is very, 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 very serious. I was thinking back today as well. I was sad about, rest in peace, that Longers. I really liked him, you know, the way that he was so cool about everything. You never see him get hot-tempered. You never see him run off his mouth. But that hurt him so bad that I realised that that's what made him go outside with it. This is why you mustn't be bitter. You mustn't, you know, if you haven't got anybody in prison, it's very difficult to accept, you know, that your friends that you thought you had, they don't come and visit you, or they forget, or they genuinely just, you know, when you're out sometimes, they forget about you until you come out again, and then they oh yeah, come here, come with me, and it all starts again. I went through that. I went through that, but he lost his life because of those feelings of having nobody again. But I think that's enough for tonight. All right, sending loads of love.